Good day, sir. I am Leves Tugunon, your student from Bismarck Delta, and alongside with my group, Dumangas Albin, Berdijo Lloyd, and Missy Daniel Jan. So we're here to discuss or tackle about the crankshaft deflection. So start. So first up, in the first question, what is crankshaft deflection? So crankshaft deflections, these are the readings are an excellent method of determining engine to drive alignment and main bearing. It is taken in accordance with any planned maintenance system when an engine survey is conducted. So that is the first question, which is the crankshaft deflection. Number two. The second question is when do we do it? When do we do it crankshaft deflection? So I have a diagram which states the crankshaft deflection, which is stated the deflection curve, then the crankshaft deflection, and which is alongside with its baseline. So these are the crankshaft deflection. So the answer, so it is done, crankshaft deflection, it is done when the engine is cooled off, because the engine temperature can cause variation in measurements. So that's all in the second question, sir. So the third question will be discussed with my fellow groupmates, Lloyd Berdijo.
In what emergency situation we apply crankcase deflection? So in case the ship is involved in an accident such as grounding, or the ship engine is doubt in misalignment. Of course, if the ship is involved into grounding, it can possible, or it can cause a damage into our main engine, and it can damage the crankshaft. So we need to apply the crankcase deflection. And also, if the temperature of the bearing increases, we can or we doubt, or we find a way, or we find what are the causes of that increase of temperature. So we can also apply the crankcase deflection in that situation. Where it is done, of course, the crankshaft deflection is done inside the engine crankcase, and the dial gauge, which is the measuring device used, is fitted between adjacent web and opposite to the crank pin, and it is also positioned in the half of the center of the diameter of the crankshaft center. And the dial gauge, once the dial gauge is fitted, so the web spread is measured at different angular position, while the crankshaft is rotated at full, or through a full revolution. And once there is a markings where the dial gauge must be or should be in position. So once the dial gauge is in position to the crank between the web, so the dial gauge will be set into 0, and then the crankcase will should be rotated to measure the web spread.
Hello everyone, good day. I am Albin Dumangas from BS Marine Engineering, Tier Delta. I'm the next reporter, and I'm going to discuss how is it done. So the traditional method of measuring the crankshaft deflection is to take measurement of each angle required manually by placing the deflection measurement gauge between the crankshaft and the rotating crankshaft. So manual readings at each angle required can be noted manually to detect the deflection of the crankshaft. So this crankshaft measurement tools is what we call the deflection gauge. So essentially, the deflection gauge shows us the distance between the adjacent crank webs, which are read at different angular positions of the shaft. The strain applied to the stylus of the gauge shows the flexing motion between the crank webs, and showing even minimal variations.
Good day, sir. My name is Macy Delajanis, BSMAR student of third year Delta. So for today's video, I will discuss all about crankshaft deflection. So the question is, why do we have to do it? So it is important to perform crankshaft deflection to ensure the proper alignment of main bearings and to prevent or to avoid crankshaft failures. So the defect of the crankshaft are quite rare but very dangerous, because in case of a failures, it will take the engine out of service, and the repairing process is very expensive, and also it is time consuming. So if our crankshaft is balanced, can massively increase the performance of our main engine, and engine whilst also reducing vibration that may come with the stress metal and unbalanced engine. So that's all, sir. Thanks.
So to sum up, the idea, crankshaft deflection occurs over time during the repeated and continuous use of the crankshaft. It's a process that occurs in the background as the engine operates, and though it can't be seen without detection instrument, it causes significant damage to the mechanism of the engine. Without correcting the shifts in the crankshaft over time, the machine will wear unevenly, causes undue stress in supporting components. This will detract from the useful lifetime of the engine, causing it to wear out prematurely. This naturally occurring problem can be easily corrected, however, with a small adjustment. So, all in all, you should perform crankshaft deflection measurements regularly to prevent this extreme repair cost and detect signs of trouble early on. For us to prevent crankshaft failure and serious breakdowns, it is absolutely essential to maintain the main bearings of an engine in a true alignment. The alignment must be checked as per the maker's instructions with the main bearing bridge gauge and the crank web deflection gauge. And that's it, and that will be all. Thank you.